Now we're going to take a look at how to utilize layers. In the last video tutorial you created layers, and so when you open a new drawing you should have all these same layers listed in your layer property manager, and they're now available for you to use. And so this drawing that you're taking a look at, it's the top view of problem 3-28 on page 101 in your blue technical drawing and engineering communication book. And you'll see that for this I utilized a few different layers. I've got my object layer that I used for all of these white lines. I've got my hidden layer that I used for this yellow line, the center layer that I used for my center mark for my circle, and then the border layer that I used for this outside border that I drew around it. So I'm going to show you how to go ahead and use these layers as you're creating this drawing. So let me go ahead and delete a few things here. Okay. And now we should be ready to get started. So once you find that problem 3-28, that little isometric view of this little block, go ahead and draw it as much as you can. Before you start drawing, you're going to want to set your layer current. And that's really the best way to go about using layers, is whichever layer you want to draw your items on, just go ahead and choose that layer out of this list before you draw. And so for instance, I'm going to set it to the object layer, and then I'm going to go ahead and draw this angled line in that I've got left. So I'll go ahead and come up here, click on my little line command, and just draw from endpoint to endpoint to draw that line in. Okay. Now say for instance I drew something but it's not on the right layer. So like for instance this hidden line in here, I'm going to go ahead and offset my object line and then change it to be on the current layer, on the correct layer. So I'm going to go up to my offset command, and I drew this based on every square is an inch. If you drew it based on every square is a half inch, that's fine. But for me, I'm going to type in 2 because my offset's going to be 2 units. I'm going to select the item that I want to offset and then choose which side. So now I've got this object line that's representing my hidden line, but it's on the wrong layer. So the way to get something on the correct layer is just go ahead and select it first, and you can select multiple items all at the same time, and then just come up to your layers and choose which layer you want it to be assigned to out of this list. So for instance, I'm going to click on hidden, and now that line is assigned to the hidden layer. And then before I go to do anything else, I want to hit escape, and you'll notice that once you hit escape, that layer goes back to whichever layer was set currently. And so my current layer is still my object layer. So the next thing that I want to do is go ahead and draw in these center lines. So again, I want to go ahead and set my layer to the correct layer, so I'm going to set it to be my center layer. And then again, I'm going to offset this circle. I'm going to offset it at a distance of 0.25. And I'm going to offset it to the outside. And now I can go ahead and draw my lines. Now my lines will be assigned to my current layer, so they will go ahead and be center lines. And then I can just delete the circle that I created just to draw those center lines in. Okay. And then the other thing to just kind of verify is, one thing, if you get a line, let's say it's on the 0 layer, and you did everything on the 0 layer, you'll be able to tell when you go to a print preview that it's on the wrong layer because your line weight won't be correct. So the way that one of the ways we can check line weight is if you come down here to this toolbar, that you've got this option here to show or hide line weight. So if you click on that icon, it will show you the line weight. And so this is the preview of what it's going to look like when it gets printed. And so you can tell right away that this line that you drew that's white didn't get assigned to the correct layer. So you can simply click on it and then choose the correct layer out of the list, and then be sure and hit escape after that, and now you can tell by a quick visual glance if you have everything set to the correct layer. Okay, the other thing about layers that I wanted to show you is we found out, a few of us have found out, that when we draw center lines in AutoCAD, that sometimes they're too short to generate the line type. So for instance here, I've got a line and I just drew it at 1 inch long, and you'll see that its line type's not being generated. What I have found out is that the shortest line that you can have on the center layer and still generate the line type is a line that's 1 1/8 inch long. Okay, any line any shorter than that, you're not going to be able to see your center line type. Now why that's important is because when we print drawings, if we print a drawing with this line, even though it shows up red on our screen, when it prints off, it's going to look like an object line. And so we want that center line type to be generated so that when we print, it looks like a center line. And so the best way to do this is after you have it drawn, and if this is drawn to the correct length, you want it to be 1 inch long, then we need to adjust the properties for that one particular line and only that one line. And so the way you do that is come up here, you've got a little properties panel and this little arrow in the corner. If you click on that arrow, it brings up your properties box. You can select that line and then you can adjust your line type scale. And I've told many of you that I want this line type scale to be as large of a number as possible. So now when we click in this box, we'll get this little calculator. So you can click on that calculator and then you can do some math and automatically pre-fill that box. And so for center lines, what you need to know is the length that you drew the line and this length of what it takes to draw, the minimum size it takes to draw in that line type. So here if we type in 1 and hit divided by 1.125 and hit apply, that will populate our line type scale, and now you'll see that this line that's drawn at 1 inch, now you can see its line type because we've adjusted the line type scale for that. So anytime you have a center line that doesn't show the line type scale, you need to know the length of the line, in this case 1 inch, and just come in here to this calculator and take 1 divided by 1.125 and hit apply, and then that will give you the largest number possible. That'll still generate that line type. Shouldn't be much of a problem for hidden lines, but if we go ahead and change our hidden layer to make it current and draw a line, the shortest line that you can have that's going to still generate the line type is going to be a 3/16 inch long line. So if you have anything shorter than that, you're not going to be able to see the line type. So say for instance you had a line that was only 1/8 of an inch long. Then the way we're going to fix that is, again, go up here, click on our little arrow that brings up our properties box, select the element that you want to change, come in here to your line type scale, click on the little calculator, and then this time you'd be taking 0.125 divided by 0.1875. So you're going to take the length of the line that you have drawn that's not showing the scale and always take it divided by 0.1875. That'll get populated in there, and then you'll see that the line type is now being generated on that line. Okay, so that's a little bit about how to utilize layers once we have them created, how to put specific objects on specific layers. And now there'll be one more video that's going to go through how to turn layers on and off, how to freeze and thaw, and how to lock and unlock, and the benefits of using those options. So you can continue on to your third video now.